Welcome back. Diagnostic services provider Suraksha Diagnostics has had a flat debut on Dalal Street. The IPO price, issue price was 441, and as we speak, it's dipped slightly below that, down close to about 4%. This is a company which largely caters to eastern and northeastern India. So nearly 95% of its revenues come in from West Bengal, where they provide diagnostic, pathology, radiology services. Dr. Somnath Chatterjee, founder, promoter and chairman of the company, and Ms. Ritu Mittal, who is also the promoter, joint MD and CEO, join us on the show now to talk about the way forward. Thank you very much and congratulations. This is Rima here. We had spoken earlier on IPO KYC. So, now that you're listed, and for the benefit of all the new shareholders who believe in the Suraksha story, take us through what they should expect on growth and margins going forward. Give us a near-term outlook, 1 year, and even over the next 5 years. How will Suraksha Diagnostics as a company evolve from here on? Dr. Chatterjee, if you would like to go first.
Regarding the growth story, it is going to be extremely robust. As our CEO will explain it to you, that there has been extensive plans for growing the chain forward in the next 3 years. Ritu, you pick up.
So, diagnostics is a regional play and it's a trust-based business. Therefore, we would first like to expand throughout West Bengal and then enter the neighboring states of Northeast, followed by Bihar, Jharkhand and Orissa. That's the plan going forward. We do intend to put up 12 to 15 centers every year. As far as the margins are concerned, as demonstrated by our peers, it's just going to get better as operational efficiency sets in and we get the operational leverage.
So how long does it take for a new diagnostic? Yes, please go ahead.
Historically, it has been seen that with the growth of the number of centers that you have, there is a remarkable increase in the turnover of the company as it goes. So, with a robust plan of growth, we can expect better than market CAGR that is currently available.
Okay. So, the earlier conversation that you had indicated that margins will improve to around 40 to 42% versus current 35%. How soon do you think you can get to that mark, and what would the drivers of that margin expansion be? You spoke about, of course, the additions in terms of diagnostic centers that there are. Will there be any other factors other than store addition? Will you see price hikes as well? How often does it happen, since it's a regional play, but it's a competitive market as well?
So historically, Suraksha has been increasing prices at about 3 to 4% every alternate year, and we would continue to do so. As far as the margins are concerned, it is basically coming out of expansion, because as your base grows, your margins just improve because your fixed costs get divided. And we are also planning to add a lot of tests, high-end tests, to our portfolio, which will again contribute to revenue and also margins in the Eastern India zone.
There are these high-end tests which we call esoterics, and Suraksha today is the only lab performing most of the esoterics. And on top of that, it plans to expand the menu to a complete one in the next 3 to 4 months. So we believe that as we add the esoteric component in our menu, the profitability, because these being high-end tests, the profitability will rise considerably because of this.
Ritu, since you'll have aggressive expansion plans, you spoke about 12 to 15 centers being added every year. I remember from our earlier conversation, even an acquisition was something that you were open to and looking at. So how are you planning to fund all this? Because in the IPO, you all have only done an offer for sale.
So we have cash accruals in the book, and the company is cash rich. There's hardly any debt in the balance sheet. So we typically plan to go through accruals that the company has. And if required, if we get an acquisition which we find worthwhile, we can definitely raise debt for the same.
Okay. What would that acquisition kitty be? What's the cash in the books right now? Is there something that you already have your eye on and we could hear about it, say, in this fiscal or the next calendar year?
So cash in the books is around 50 crores. And maybe you will hear about some acquisition in the next fiscal year.
Okay.
You mean in FY26, not before the close of this fiscal year, which is March 2025?
We will definitely try to bring a closure to it.
Okay.
But since we have all been involved in this IPO process, things have got a bit delayed, but it will be sooner than expected, the acquisition that we are talking about.
Sir, since you have an eye on a target clearly, the one that you're referring to, will it require you to go out there and raise debt? Is it a large acquisition, or will your internal accruals be sufficient?
No, it is not a large acquisition, but it is a very niche acquisition. So we will not need to raise any debt because of it. But this niche emerging field of medicine will give impetus to a very large growth in the whole ecosystem of Suraksha.
Okay, all right. So, Ms. Mittal, I wanted to understand the current market share that you have in West Bengal, and if you're looking at other eastern states as well, what kind of capex will you put in for that?
So we planned a capex outlay of around 70 crores every year going forward for the next 3 to 4 years. And the market share that Suraksha today has for East India is around 1.3%. But again, East India is a huge territory and Suraksha is present in a very small part of it. If we were to consider our market share in territories where we are heavily present, it would definitely be upwards of 10%.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Chatterjee and Ms. Mittal, for joining in, and wish you all the best and look forward to more conversations with CNBC-TV18. We will slip into a break on that note with the news that things are still very quiet, at least on the Nifty and the Sensex. Marginal red, but the mid-caps are holding up in the green. On the other side of the break is our special segment, Fin Street. We'll put the spotlight on how banks have performed in the second quarter.